just explained about a little bit, we just gave about the little bit introduction of SQL, like what is database, what is SQL, and user interface of MySQL. Okay, so today I'll once again explain the user interface of MySQL, and we will continue with the concepts. But still, we will. I mean, it's I initially I spoke about the importance of data yesterday, so no worries. Okay, so this is about our course content. I can which we're actually going to cover in our course. I'll show you about this after a while. So as you know, in this course we are dealing with MySQL tool, right? So this is MySQL user interface. Once we are done with demo classes, I'll show the installation process of MySQL. Okay, so this is MySQL workbench. Now, what is database in a sense? It's all about collection of data, right? We know whatever we do today, everywhere we are generating data, correct? What so as we are generating lots of data today, all the data to store all the data, obviously we should have some good systems, right? So database is a place where we will store all the data. Okay, so every company today, to maintain their data, they are maintaining their own databases, right? We know that. So what is SQL in the sense? The full form of SQL is nothing but structural query language. Okay, and what is SQL in the sense? Obviously, as we are storing data inside a database to communicate with the database. Okay, suppose I want something. Okay, so what is my actual requirement whenever I want something, to explain that particular requirement, basically to communicate my whatever I want, I can say requirements. Okay, so to communicate with the database, we will use SQL as a language. Inside database, we are storing some data, right? So whatever we want, whenever we want to see some kind of data, if we want to update any data, whatever it is. So generally, to make database understand what we want, that is nothing but to communicate with the database, we will use SQL as a language. Okay, that is about the technical definition of SQL. It's a language which is used to communicate with the database. Okay, so this is the user interface of SQL Workbench. As I said, once we are done with demo classes, I'll show you the installation process of SQL Workbench. Okay, so for now, like this we can able to see. Okay, towards the left side we have something called as schemas. So below that, whatever you can see here in my system, those are nothing but database names, list of databases. Okay, I have this many databases in my workbench. So all the databases were listed here. By default, we will have only sys as a database. Okay, once you install this software in your system, you can able to see only one database, that is sys. So after whatever databases you will create, the same databases name, the list you can find here. Okay, so this is about that. And here, so whatever you can see, something like SQL files. Basically, these are all SQL files. This is the place where we will write all the SQL queries. Okay, we can even call it as SQL, editor, where we will write all the queries. Okay, so to open this file, open to a new SQL file, we have two options. As we know, this is file menu. That is, this is menu bar. Okay, and this is toolbar. So in menu bar we have file option, and whoever and actually I'm repeating all these concepts, whoever joined today, or whoever is joining today only the first class. Okay, whoever already joined yesterday, we already finished it, but just give me a 5 to 10 minutes of time so that I can revise that concepts, and let's continue with the new concepts today. Okay, so to open a new file, from file we will have new query tab option. If I'm just clicking on that, one new file will be open, or else the shortcut here we will have. Okay, the first icon in the toolbar. If I'm clicking this also, a new file will be created like this. Okay, we can use anything, and within this file we will have some more options here. So after writing any queries, any data here, basically we can execute all of them. Okay, so or else we can save this file. To save this file, we will use this symbol, and to open already saved files. If we want, so obviously if we save something, that files will be saved inside our local machine, right, inside our systems. So to open already saved files, we need to use this icon. Okay, first icon. If I'm clicking here, I can able to open any of the files and we can access like that. Okay, first icon here is to open the already saved file. Second icon is to save save a file, save this file basically. Third icon is to execute. After writing any queries, if we want to execute, we will click on this execute button. Okay, for now this will be enough for us. Remaining options we will see going forward. At the bottom we have output section. As we know, after writing all the queries, after executing, we need to execute first, then output will be seen in this section. Okay, this is information section. Basically, if you are selecting any tables, what kind of inside that table, basically the column names, data types, every detail will be visible here. Okay, so that is about basic I can say basic introduction which we are done yesterday. Okay, so we just created one database, we activated the database, we need to create the table, right? So suppose generally in any Excel file, if we are storing any data, we know how we will store, right? Just give me a second, I'll show you. Suppose if I want to store any employees data, okay, so employees will be my table name. Okay, so inside I'll give some data, maybe employee ID, employee name, okay, salary, date of joining. Okay, in this let me enter some data randomly. Just give me a second, I'll enter it quickly. Suppose like this, if I am entering, if I want to enter any data inside a table in an Excel file, we will write like this, right? So here actually, if the same thing, the same table, if we want to create in SQL, we will have some sorry, so we will have some syntaxes. Basically here employees is our table name. Actually inside a database, I said inside database is nothing but the place where we will store the data, correct? Inside a database we will create tables. Okay, we will store the data in the database in the form of tables. First we will create tables, and inside that tables we will store data. Okay, this is data. So now we are talking about tables here. Tables is nothing but it is a collection of rows and columns. Okay, rows and columns. So here whatever I wrote here, this is my table name, that is employees is my table name. Vertical thing is called as column. Horizontal thing is called as a row. Okay, that means in this particular table I'm having 4 columns, that is employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining. 4 columns I'm having, right? Inside that columns, whenever I wanted to insert the data, basically that is called as rows. 2 rows we are having here. Okay, this is our first row of data about employee, about one employee, and about our second employee. That is, we have 2 rows here. Okay, like that. Maybe you all might know about this, but still I'll teach everything from scratch. That is the reason I'm just mentioning these points. Okay, so now let's see how we are going to create this in SQL. So before that, generally in any programming language, we'll have something called as comments. That is nothing but if we write anything inside comments, that is non-executable. Okay, if you don't want to execute anything, we will write that inside comments. Just like this, right? You can see here, I wrote some sentences here inside this symbol. That is, this is my comment. This is not any, this is not our queries. Whatever, if we don't want to execute, we'll just mention it inside a comments. Okay. So basically we'll have single line comments and multi-line comments. Single line comments in SQL, either we will use this symbol or this symbol, that is hash. Here actually I use this two hyphens, this symbol, right? Any symbol is fine. Multi-line comments in the sense, if we want to write anything as a comments in multiple lines, something like paragraphs like this. Okay, so this is our multi-line comments. This is the start of the comment, that is hash and star. This is the end of the comment. In between whatever we will write, that is again it will consider as a comment, and that is non-executable. First we need to understand this particular points for some knowledge purpose. I'm explaining this. Okay, next point is MySQL is case insensitive. Okay, that is, you can use either upper cases, lower cases, anything is fine. Okay, these are about some basic points which we already covered yesterday, right? Now let's get into our main concept. So creating a database. For doing everything here, we will have something called as syntaxes. Syntax in the sense, it's nothing but you can imagine or you can understand something like a rule or a formula which we need to follow. Okay, generally we will call uh, this term as syntax in SQL. Okay, so for everything we will have its own syntaxes. So let's start understanding about the technical part now. Okay, so in SQL, first we need to create the database. Inside database we'll create tables, right? So to create, let's create a database one, and let's create one database. So the syntax for creating database is create database name. Okay, that is what we did here. Create database. I gave database name as SQL demo. Okay, this one. So I'll just a second. Let me for whoever attending new, so let me show you once again. Okay, yesterday I created SQL demo. Now let me give it as SQL demo 1. This is our database name. Okay, this is our syntax. After writing this, I will select, and this is execute button. I'm just selecting it. Now you can see in the output section it got executed successfully. If you can see like this green color tick mark, that is executed successfully. If we have any errors, it will show us red color cross mark. Okay, so now database is created. So whatever database we created, to reflect that database in this list, we need to refresh once. Here we'll have refresh button. So you can see I got my database here, SQL demo 1. Okay, this is how we will create a database. Okay, and after creating database, we need to activate the database. Okay, because here I'm having so many databases. Okay, so every time whenever I started working on any database, I need to activate database. Then only SQL won't confuse that. Basically, if I'm activating the database only, by activating the database, I'm just letting know the SQL that which database I wanted to use. Okay. For now, as you can see here, simple is the database which is in already activation. Okay. If I execute any query, by default, SQL will execute that particular query inside this database. Okay, that is the reason. But here we wanted to use SQL demo 1, right? Now I need to activate this particular database before using this. Okay, so to activate the database, again we will have this syntax, that is use database name. Okay, that is what I wrote here, use SQL demo. Let me write it as 1. SQL demo 1 is the database which we created just now, right? So let me select, let me execute. Now you can see that particular database is activated, right? It got highlighted, right? Like that every time. If none of the databases are in activation and if we are executing any query, then SQL will throw us error because it will confuse which database to use, or else whatever database is highlighted, that particular database only it will basically use. Okay, am I clear about creating the database and activating the database, everyone?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is about activating the database. Now let's use this database only. As you can see, in every database we have four sections here in MySQL. One is tables, views, stored procedures, functions. Okay, first let's concentrate on tables. Remaining things we will learn going forward. So as I said, inside a database we need to create a table, and inside a table we will store the data, right? So let's create a table. So here, up to here, I explained yesterday. Of course, along with this, we spoke about a little bit about, importance of data, I can say, or else I took an example to, explain what is database and what is SQL very detailedly. If anyone is new, even you can watch that in the video. Okay, the video will be yesterday's video will be shared. Our admin team will send that link to you. Okay. Now, but nothing you missed. Okay, all the terms, all the important terms I already covered. Now let's continue with today's class. So now we need to create a table. So for creating the table also, obviously we will have some syntax. Let me write that syntax here. Create table, table name, then within the parenthesis. Suppose in Excel file here, employees is my table name. 4 columns I defined here, correct? So every time whenever we are creating a table in SQL, we need to use create command. Create is one of the command. Going forward, we'll discuss about it very detailedly. Okay, so basically for creating, we will use create command. Here we are creating a table. The syntax is create table, table name. Within the parenthesis, how many columns we want, that many columns we need to define. Okay, suppose column name 1, and for each column we need to define data type. What is data type? I'll explain you in a while. Column name 2 and data type for that particular column name. Okay, like that. How many columns we want, that many columns we will execute. Okay, and at the end again we need to close this bracket. I mean, how many columns we want, that many columns we will write inside this parenthesis, and we need to close the bracket here. This is the syntax. So let's see the example. Let's create the same employees table. So create a table employees. Okay, so column name 1, let me use the same columns here: employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining, right? Actually, instead of SQL demo 1, let's use SQL demo only. Okay, I'm just removing this. Now I'll activate this particular thing. I just created demo 1 to show new students who basically how we are going to create and activate the database. Okay, but actually I wanted to use SQL demo as our database for this particular batch. Okay, so I'm just activating once again. Use SQL demo whenever, whenever we wanted to use whatever database, we need to first activate it. Okay, so I'm just activating SQL demo. Now you can see I got that database. Here only we will create the tables. Okay, so employees is my table. In that, employee ID is my first column. Okay, so first we have actually let's talk about data types first, and then we will define data types for all the columns. Okay, so to first write or understand create syntax, we need to understand data types, because here for every column I'm saying we will define data type, right? So basically what is data type then? Let me tell you by taking one example. So this is our Excel file, right? Here I gave some column names, I gave some data. Okay, so this is basically salary column. Suppose if I'm writing something here, here also I'm writing something randomly. If I'm writing anything in Excel, basically it is allowing me to do so. We know that in employees column, salary, in employees table, salary column, obviously if salary is the column, we will enter numbers only, right? I cannot enter like this hello, hi, or any textual data, correct? Because this is salary column, and this is date of joining column. I need to enter dates only, but here I'm randomly entering anything. And if I am entering anything, Excel is basically not stopping me to do so, right? It is not throwing me any error. Whatever I'll enter, that it is accepting, right? Basically, this is one of the drawback of SQL. Of course, we have some functionality here, but normally if we are using, it is allowing me to do so, right? So whenever we are if we are dealing with some big data, obviously in real time we will deal with big data only. That is, the data will be large there, right? So whenever we are storing, or whenever we are dealing with large data, large volumes of data, if we are using Excel files like this will be our, we have so many limitations or challenges in Excel file. This is one of the problem which we will face in Excel file, right? If knowingly or unknowingly, if we enter any wrong data or irrelevant data, Excel won't throw me any error, it will simply accept, right? This is one of the problem here. So to solve this problem, obviously, as I'm saying, we have so many limitations or disadvantages, I can say, for Excel file. Okay, if we store data in Excel file, we will have some limitations. So because of that only databases came into picture. Okay, so in that limitations, this is one of the limitation. If we enter any random data, it is accepting. So to get rid of this problem in databases, in SQL we will use a concept called as data type. That is, whatever data type we will mention in any column, that data type only will decide that what kind of data we need to enter in that particular column. That means in salary, we know we need to enter numbers only, right? In dates, we need to enter dates only. In employee ID, maybe numbers here, like that. Sometimes we will have character data also. In names, in the sense, obviously character data, like that. For each and every column, we will have some. Generally, if we are thinking logically, also we know salary, in the sense I can't write any textual data, right? It will be numbers only, like that. So for maintaining that kind of, if we are entering some wrong data, it should throw us error, right? So for that reason we are using data types concept in SQL. Okay, so let me write the definition now. Data type, in the sense, it will decide what kind of value we can store inside any column. Okay, according to data types only we can able to store some kind of data inside the column. Okay, suppose as I said, in numbers, salary, in the sense numbers only we can able to store, right? If I'm storing any other data, it will throw me error. Okay, generally we have some types of data types here. One is numerical data type. Okay, and second one is character or string data type. Third one is date time data type. Okay, and the fourth one is maybe Boolean data type. But mostly these three are important. These three only we will use in real time very frequently. Okay, first one is numerical data type. Obviously, we need to store numbers in it. Next, character or string data type, we will store some characters or textual data in it, right? Date time data type, in the sense, with the name itself we can see we can able to store dates in it, right? Like that. Now numerical data type is further divided into two types, that is int and float. Okay, so let me show you one picture actually. But I guess you got some idea about what is data types, right? Am I clear whatever I said? If there is any doubt, you can ask me, guys. I'll repeat the concept. Okay, so yeah, SQL data types, as you can see in this picture, mainly numeric data type, numerical data type, character or string data type. We can either call it as character data type or string data type. Okay, date and time data type. And this data types will further divide into this many times. That is, for numerical data type, we will again it is divided into int and float. Int, in the sense, it will store numbers, and whenever we want to store decimal values, we need to define float as a data type. Okay, int in the sense number, float in the sense decimals. So character data type, in the sense, again it is divided into two types, char and varchar. So what is char and what is varchar? What is the difference between them? I'll explain you in a while. Okay, we'll call it as fixed length and variable length. We'll just discuss about all these things by taking one example. Okay, and then date and time data type. Again, we have two more data types here. One is date data type and the second one is date time data type. If I wanted to store any only dates, then we will use this one. Along with the dates, if you want to store time, then we will use this one. Okay, am I clear?
It is clear, madam.
Perfect. So yeah, as I said, this is char and varchar, right? For date and time, we will again divide into, sorry, we will have two more, that is date and date time, right? And boolean, actually the values will be only true or false. Okay, we will see this also going forward. So in this again we will have, as I said, integer in the sense only numbers, float in the sense decimal values. Okay, char and varchar I'll explain in a while, but one more point here. In character data type, whenever we are defining character data type, we need to define size also. Okay, I'll explain this also in a while. So basically date and date time in the sense, the format, basically the format which we need to use to store the dates is like this. First we need to use years, then months, then dates. So in MySQL, this format will only acceptable. Okay, definitely we need to use this format only. If we are using in any other way, it will throw us error. If it is date, okay, if it is date time, the format will be obviously year, month, date, then hour, minute, second, like this. Okay, this is the format. And if you observe within the codes, we need to mention dates or date times. Okay, so this is about data types. Okay, and now as we understood what are data types, let's create a table here. Okay, so for employees table, obviously first column is employee ID, and we know that we are storing some numerical data in employee ID. So which data type can I use for numerical data? Either int or float, right? If I wanted to store decimal values, I'll use float. And again, decimals will accept normal numbers also, as well as floats, as well as decimal values. Okay, int, it will accept only numbers. So here I'll just define it as int because I want only numbers in this particular column. And the second column is employee name, obviously that is character data. For now I'll define char. Okay, I'll explain you what is char and varchar after creating the table. Okay, so for now I'm just using char, and as I said, whenever we use character data, we need to define size also, like this. I'm here mentioning the size as 10. So after writing character data within the brackets, once again we need to define the size. Okay, that means here I gave size as 10. What that means in the sense, for this particular employee name, I can able to store up to 10 characters data only. That is only 10 letter word, up to 10 characters only I can store in this particular employee name. If I'm storing any 11 letter word, it will throw me error. Okay, greater than 10. If we are storing any word, it will throw me error because I'm already allocating the particular size as 10 for this particular column name. Okay, like that. That is why we will use size. Whatever size we are defining here, that much of memory we are going to allocate actually for that particular column name. Here we are defined only 10, so I can enter up to 10 characters only in this particular employee name. Okay, that is about this size, comma. Then what is the third? Salary, right? Salary, that is third column name. For salary also obviously numbers, but sometimes we may expect decimal values, so I'm using float. Okay, comma, date of joining, right? Date of joining is my next column name. So for that, I'll just give the data type as date. Okay, like this we will define the table, right? Column name, and for each column name we need to define data types accordingly. Okay, so after that we need to close the bracket once again. So let me just select it and execute. It got executed successfully, right? Now let's just refresh here. Now you can see I can able to expand tables, and this is my first table, that is employees. If I'm just clicking here in the information section, I can able to see all the column names, right? And all the data types whatever I define in the information section. Okay, so that by seeing like this also we can understand what type of columns are there in any table. Okay, so up to here, if you have any doubts, please let me know, or else I'll continue with the explanation of char and varchar. Clear for everyone?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so what we did so far, we created a database, we activated the database, we created the table. Okay, so first let's try to understand the difference between char and varchar. So for that, first, so maybe I'm taking employee name, same column. Previously we used char as a data type and I gave size as 10, right? So the same thing I'm writing here. And whenever we are writing like this, whenever we are using char data, okay, that is char as a data type, what will happen in the backend in the sense? Just a second. Okay. So here what I did actually, I used, let me use this only. So I gave the column name as employee name. For this, I just used char as a data type and I given size as 10, right? So it just let me take one box here. Let me just divide this into 10 different parts because I already took the size as 10, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, like this maybe. So whenever we are defining size as 10, what will happen? Obviously, in each box, one name. Suppose if I am entering Raj as name, okay, so R will be allocated in this box, A in this box, okay, J in this box, right? I already gave the size as 10. Okay, so SQL what it did, it just divided the complete space into 10 divisions. I just divided the box into 10 boxes, the 10 sections, and in each box, actually, I'm just writing one letter here. Okay, that is if we are defining size as 10. Okay, uh, here by defining size as 10, what we are doing actually, we are allocating the memory here, right? I'm just allocating 10 bytes of memory here. Okay, 10 bytes of memory I'm allocating for this particular employee name. In that 10 bytes of memory, in that 10 bytes of memory, I'm just trying to enter a three-letter word, that is maybe Raj. So one first letter in one box, second letter in second box, and like that. Okay, but here only three boxes I used because this is a three-letter word, that is 3 bytes of memory is used here for this particular name. Whatever remaining 7 bytes of memory will be there, right? For that 7 bytes of memory, what SQL will do, it will just fill with the blank spaces like this. Okay, that means irrespective of whatever how many letter word we will use, irrespective of whatever data we are entering, the complete size will be used here. If I am using char, if I'm using char as a data type, whatever size we mention, that complete size will be used for this particular employee name column. So I can say memory is being wasted here, right? Am I right? Because I entered only 3-letter word, but the 7 letters, also 7 bytes of memory is also, basically using or reserving. We are just doing, we are reserve. I mean, we are using that particular remaining 7 bytes of memory also for the same employee name column, just by adding blank spaces here, right? So I can say in char memory will be wasted. Correct? Let's keep the session interactive, guys. You can just respond.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is about char. Now suppose if we are, let's try to use a varchar and let's see the difference. Suppose employee name. Okay. So instead of char, if I am using varchar, and if I am giving the same size as 10. Okay. Here I used char. Now here I'm trying to use varchar. Now what will happen? I'll just use the same box and I'll explain. So here also, as I mentioned, size as 10. Again, the 10 divisions I'll do. Suppose now if I am entering any particular word, something like John. So I'll write in each box, I'll write one letter. Okay. So 4 boxes or 4 letters, that is, technically we'll call it as 4 bytes of memory we used, right? 4 bytes we used. What is the remaining? Obviously 6 bytes of memory, correct? This 6 bytes of memory, whenever we use varchar, that will be actually, that remaining bytes of memory won't be used for this particular column. This remaining bytes, remaining 6 bytes of memory will be given back to the database itself. Okay, that is the main difference between char and varchar. In char, irrespective of whatever how many letter word we enter also, that is not like 11 letter word. As I said, the first rule is that whatever size we are defining here, that much data only we need to enter. If you are exceeding, we will get an error stating, I'll show you and that particular error going forward. We can see, okay, maybe the data you enter is too long to hold, like that kind of error we will get. Okay, if we are entering some 12 letter word, whenever we are defining 10 as space, like that, greater than 10, how many characters we enter also, then we will get that particular error. Okay, so less than 10 in char, if we are using only 3 or 4 letters, whatever remaining memory is there, that is again the complete memory will be used for this employee name column only. But for varchar, remaining bytes of memory won't be used for this employee name column. It will be given back to the database. So I can say, I can conclude, in char memory will be wasted, in varchar memory won't be wasted. Okay, memory is not wasted in varchar, right? This is the main difference and very important interview question also, maybe for freshers up to 2 to 3 years of experience. Difference between char and varchar. Okay, this is the difference. In char memory will be wasted, in varchar memory won't be wasted. Okay, so that is the reason, as the memory won't be wasted in varchar, mostly in real time we will use varchar only. In what scenarios we will use char? In the sense, suppose if we know what kind of data we are entering. Okay, for example a gender column maybe. Okay, gender column. In gender column we know what kind of data, how much data we want, maybe male or female, right? We know how many characters we are going to use in this particular column. If it is names, we can't guess, right? Someone name will have 3 letters, someone name will have 12 letters, we can't guess. But for male, we know that is a definite data here, either male or female, so we know how many characters we are going to enter. Like that, in that scenario we can use char. Okay, again it's our wish, but this is the difference. Okay, and one more point is that for char we can store up to 255 characters only. Whenever I'm defining char, that means the maximum length this char will hold is 255 characters, whereas varchar will hold 65,435 characters. Okay, I'm not sure about this number actually, maybe 435 or 524, a little bit confusion I have, but I'll provide a correct number, correct digit or a correct value in notes, don't worry. But we can, let's consider this as something like 65k. Okay, for now I forgot actually, something like 65k. I'll provide the exact value in the notes. But for char 255 and varchar 65k. Okay. So this is about the difference between char and varchar. I hope I'm clear, right?
Yes, madam.
Perfect. So we created table now. Let's insert some data. Okay, that is what we did, right? Now with create syntax, with create command, basically we will only create the table. We will define the column names, right? Basically that is called as structure of the table. Okay, we created structure to the table. Now inside the table we need to insert the data, we need to enter this data, right? So let's do that. So obviously to enter the data we need to use insert command. Okay, insert. Insert is a command used to insert the data or enter the data, I can say insert the data inside table. Okay, now let's see the syntax. Insert into table name values, and we need to give some values here. So actually let me use it directly. Insert into, our table name is employees here, right? We need to use a keyword called as values, and then we need to give the values here. We need to enter the data in the same sequence however we used, however we given in however we given the column names while creating. Okay, first employee id, then employee name, then salary, then date of joining, like that. So let me give, so I'm giving it as one, maybe Raj. Next we have salary, right? Maybe 60,000. Date of joining, okay, comma. Here if you observe, within the brackets whatever we are mentioning, whenever we are using insert command, whenever we are trying to enter the data, so like this we will enter, this is nothing but first row of data. Okay, within the brackets whatever we'll mention, this is about the first row. Whenever SQL sees a bracket here, that is a complete parenthesis is closed, and then it will understand this is our first row of data. Then I need to keep a comma, and then we need to start entering second row of data like this. Okay, like this. And within the brackets, each column data we are dividing by a separator, that is comma, right? I'm having, basically let me copy actually so that it will be easy for us. Let me copy the syntax here. First I'm having employee id, right? So that this is my employee id, then employee name, then salary, then date of joining. So each column we are dividing here, we are separating here by using comma. Okay, so like this is our first column data, second column, third column, and fourth column. Once we close this bracket, then SQL will understand first row is done, then this is about the second row. And if you
Clear.
observe here, yes, Darshan, any questions?
No, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing.
Okay, all right. I thought you were asking something, so no problem. So now let me give third row also here, and then let's execute this particular thing. But if you observe here, this character data, and for dates, I am just using quotes here. Either we can use single quotes or double quotes. Okay, no problem. But definitely we need to use quotes here for character data and dates. Simply I can say for numbers only we will give a normally. So for character data also we need to mention inside quotes. For dates also we need to mention inside quotes only. It can be single quotes, double quotes, no problem. Okay. Let me enter third row also. So maybe see we need to definitely use quotes here. And if you can observe here also we are just using the format also like this only, first year then month then date, whatever I said like that same format we need to use. Okay, so now let me just execute this particular thing. It got executed, right? Insert command is done. We inserted the data actually. So after inserting data, to display the data, that is to see the output, we need to use select command. Okay, select is used to display the data. So we created the table, we inserted the data, we need to display the data. To display that, we need to use select command, and the syntax will be select star from table name. Okay, that is select star from employees. Here, star is nothing but technically we will call it as asterisk. Okay, so basically, whenever it is used to display complete data. Whenever we want to display complete data, we will use asterisk. Okay, select star from employees. I'm just selecting. This is our data. Okay, like this. If I wanted to see the complete output, we can use star here. Okay, whatever data we inserted, you can see this is a perfect table. By using create command, we created column names, right? Employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining. We inserted 3 rows here. So to display the complete table output, we will use select command. Whenever we use star, it will display the complete data. But whenever we wanted to see some particular columns, then we can use that particular column names. For example, if I wanted to display only employee name and salary, I can write that particular column names here. Okay, select employee name comma salary from table name. Okay, like this. Let's select, let's execute. This is our two column names whatever I mentioned here, like that. Okay, this is about select command. Clear, right?
Yes, yes, madam.
Perfect. So we can, if we can just close this output like this. So what we learned so far, yesterday we understood little bit about the importance of data. Then we understood what is database, what is SQL actually, right? We created the table. First we created the database. We activated the database. We created table. We understood what are all the, I mean, what is data type actually and what are all the data types we have. We understood the difference between char and varchar, right? Then we created table, we inserted data, and we displayed the data. Okay, very basics of SQL. Okay, so I hope I'm clear. If you have any questions you can ask me, or else let's have a look on our course content for a while, or else if you have any kind of questions you can ask me.
Madam, is it possible to create a PDF report using MySQL?
PDF report, actually
Yeah. we will have this export button here. Okay, we can just export it as a Excel file actually. No, no, like something like invoice, like they take data from tables and then print the invoice, something of that sort. Is it
Okay,
possible
okay. So
using?
if yeah, if for that actually along with, of course, for MySQL database, if you want to create any kind of invoices, obviously we can do that, but obviously we need to use maybe PHP, like that. We need to use some more concepts here, right? Generally we will use some libraries, or if it is PeopleSoft is also there, like that. Externally we will just connect, we will use some other tools, and then we can able to create any invoices, create any PDFs, like that.
Okay, madam. And directly it is not possible using MySQL, right?
Directly not.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, anyone, any other questions? As we know, the duration is of 35 days. Okay, and the course timing is this one only, same, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. IST. And I'm just sharing you registration details. This is our second demo actually, but nothing is left, I mean nothing you missed. If you didn't attend yesterday's class also, almost I covered everything. But still, if you wanted to check as you attended today, so our admin team will reach you. Definitely you will get one mail. In that they will attach yesterday's demo video also. Even you can find the same in DurgaSoft YouTube channel also. If if you want, you can watch that video also, or else also no problem, because I already explained about the same whatever we discussed yesterday. Okay, and yeah, this is about the registration details. So if you really like the way of my explanation, and I'll just explain you about the course content, what, and I'll also let you know what is my specialty actually here. I am going to use a real-time database here to learn all the concepts of SQL. Okay, now, I mean, of course the concepts will be same whatever database we use, but still obviously, and whenever we started working, we will work with real-time, real time data, right? So that is the reason, up to this concepts only I'll explain. I'll use some basic tables like maybe employees table, students table, like that. After this, you can see, let me show you about the course content here. First, introduction to databases and SQL, we are done with that. Limitations of Excel, I didn't explain about this, we will see that later. Creation of database and tables, we are done. Once we are done with demo classes, I'll show you installation process. Data types also done. SQL commands or sub languages, basically we'll have some sub languages in SQL. Maybe the next class I'll explain about this. Next, integrity constraints. Okay, integrity constraints in the sense all the keys whatever we have in SQL, like primary key we have, foreign key we have, check constraint, okay, not null constraint, we have unique constraint, like that. We have so many constraints here. I'll explain each and every one detailing. Next, I'll give you a live project here, something like movies database, or else we can consider that as an any OTT platform kind of database. On that database only, I'll give you that database, I'll show you how to restore that in your systems. Then we will start our main concepts here. Okay, so where clause, order by clause, distinct clause, limit clause. Along with that, we have some operators, some basic operators like or, and, not. Then obviously range operator, that is between operator, in operator, especially like operator, which we'll use for pattern matching of the data, right? All these operators and clauses concept. Next, functions, we have so many functions. Of course, in numerical functions we have so many types, like that. Numerical functions, character function, date functions, aggregate functions will cover. We have internally so many functions in each of this particular types, we'll cover all of them. And then most important topic of SQL, I can say that's as a kind of backbone to complete SQL. Joins concept, we have so many types of joins, we'll discuss each type of join very practically by solving so many examples. Okay, for not only the examples which whatever we'll solve in the class, for this only for this particular concept, I'll give some assignment questions. Again, it's up to you. If you get can if you are interested, you can just solve that questions. I'll give some time. Maybe after 1 week or 10 days, I'll explain that questions also in the class. Okay. Next, regular expression, very important concept for any job role. Obviously, we will just regular expressions in the sense, again, a kind of pattern matching of the data, right? We have so many anchors in it, we will discuss detailing. Like operator and regular expressions are related concepts, we will discuss them detailing. Next, group by clause, having clause, these are all some clauses again, using aggregate functions along with group by clause and having clause. Okay, so to understand this concepts, we need to finish joins. That is the reason after joins we will discuss this particular clauses. Next, subqueries. We have two types of subqueries, correlated and non-correlated. And again, we have something like single row subquery, multi-row subquery, everything we will discuss detailing. Next, normalization, denormalization, normal forms. That is how we are going to convert raw data into a perfect database. In that process, we will use this normal forms. By taking one real-time example, I'll explain this process. Next, ER diagrams, views, indexes, of course, very important concepts. Temporary tables, CTE. CTE is nothing but common table expression, one more advanced concept. Store procedure, which we'll use in real time, very frequently. We have, you know, I'll explain everything detailedly, like static way of creating procedures, dynamic way of creating procedures. We'll have two parameters here in and out. We will discuss everything detailedly, and especially window functions. Nowadays, in every interviews, we are getting this kind of questions, right? So we have five types of window functions. That is a rank, dense rank, row number, lead and lag. Everything we will discuss detailedly. At the end, we'll discuss some important interview questions in the class itself. Okay, this is our course content. Course duration is of 35 days, that is 35 sessions actually. Okay, Monday to Friday I'll take classes. If needed, any one Saturday I'll take again. Again, it depends. Okay, so the course fees is of only 3,000, and I already pasted the registration details for you in the chat box. So almost I'm not really sure. Maybe today is the last demo or not, or else tomorrow. I'm not sure. We will think. I mean, the admin team will decide it accordingly. But if you are interested, just get registered. Whoever will get registered, they will get a new Zoom link. Just follow that link to attend the next class. Okay, or else if they are plan to extend demo tomorrow also, then we will have a one more demo session. So for now it is not yet decided, but yeah, if you have any other questions you can ask me, or else let's wind up today and let's connect tomorrow. Anyone, any questions?
I have no questions, ma'am.
Okay, Darshan.
The timings are from 6 to 7, right?
Yes, 6 to 7
Yeah,
IST.
because there is one more class that I take at around 7 o'clock, so I was just like,
Okay, okay, fine. No,
yeah,
the timings won't change. This is the fixed timings for SQL for me. So
okay,
for 8 o'clock, basically, I'll take Tableau, but SQL 6 o'clock for now. Previously, I used to take 7, but 6 o'clock.
yeah. So I'd be going to go a little bit in deep because I have tried to learn SQL previously also, but I have not
Obviously,
had much success. So
no worries, no worries. We will discuss everything detailedly in depth by solving all the examples. And actually, once from the day of your registration, you will get 6 months of video access for you. But I don't think again to watch the videos also required for you if you attend the classes regularly. So that slowly and by writing each and every syntax, by explaining very perfectly in the same manner, however I explained today, in the same manner I will explain. And notes, I prefer to give, I mean, I don't believe in giving some theory kind of notes. I'll just upload the same SQL files for you, where we will have where theory notes, as well as syntaxes, examples, everything will be given like this. So actually this is some joints examples, I guess. Like this we will solve so many examples and we will learn. Okay,
okay, okay,
so no problem. We will obviously learn deeply only. That is the reason even I included CTEs and window functions also. Because in every batch, almost I'll get students who have already working professionals who have 6 plus 8 plus years of experience, and maybe they once again wanted to brush up their SQL skills, like that. You also I'll get. So all, I mean, various students I'll get. So by keeping all of them in mind, I'll start explaining everything from scratch to the advanced concepts. Okay,
okay, Nandini.
yeah, all right guys, we are done with the time. Let me end the session now. Let's meet tomorrow. Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
yeah, thank you, bye.